Hi everyone and welcome to another video on Turn to Data. So in this video, we'll do a short guided project on Microsoft Excel. Now this is slightly different from your traditional data visualization or dashboard type of projects. This is more of a project where I have a few questions for you and we'll solve those questions one step at a time together. And the objective here is mainly to apply some of the advanced Excel functions and formulas to a data set that I already have prepared for you. This data set is called the customer orders data set, and this will help you practice some of the advanced and tedious concepts in Excel. And as I already said, it has 14 questions in total that will solve one step at a time together. So I think without wasting any time, let's get started. All right. So here are the first 5 questions. Let's look at the very first question. It says import data from a PDF file into Excel. So that means we already have a blank Excel file. Let me just go to that. All right. So we have to import a PDF file into Excel. What that basically means is whatever data that can be utilized in Excel should be imported to Excel from the PDF. So the easiest way to do this is you have to go to the data tab. Under data tab, you have something known as get data option. Click on get data, click on from file, and then go to from PDF. Now this will prompt you to select a PDF file. All right, so I'll go to my desktop and I have a file that is already prepared, customer purchase dataset. Let me just show you this file, how it looks like. Okay, so it's a very short file. So we have a title, then we have some text here describing the data set, then we have a table here, and then we have some more text. So what we are interested in is actually the table itself. All right, so this should be imported to our Excel file. So let's see how that can be done. Let me just close this and I'll go ahead and click on import here. It will take a few seconds for the file to get imported. Now you will see something called as a navigator here, and then you have two options under the PDF file. One is a table itself, that is the exact table that we saw in the PDF. Then there is a page. Page basically contains everything that you have in the PDF file. This can be text, data, a combination of everything, right? So we are not interested in this. We are just interested in the table. Once you have selected the table, click on load, and it will take a few seconds again to extract the data, and there you go. Let me just close this side. Okay, I'll just enlarge this a bit. Okay, now if you see, we have imported everything that we saw in the PDF, and there is one slight difference. That is, if you notice the date in the PDF file, it was a bit large, so it said the weekday first. For example, in this case it said, I don't know, Sunday, then November 24th 2023, something like that, right? So that when you imported has changed to a regular format. We will see how to work with that, and then you have everything as is, right? One more thing to notice here is when you import something from a PDF, it automatically gets converted to a table. So that's why you have table design and query tabs also activated here. Okay, so as of now, we don't want it to be a table. For that, what I'm going to do is I'll just select everything. You can do this with your mouse or just select Control A when you have your cursor somewhere on the table. Control A, and there is an option called Convert to Range. I'll click on that and click on OK. So now it is not a table format, but it is a regular range of values. Okay, and I'll just change the formatting a little bit so that you're not confused. All right, and no backgrounds needed here. Okay, so we will work with this data set in our guided project. All right, so that's our first question, importing data from a PDF into Excel. That's done. Moving on to the next question. Modify the date format to something like Sunday, August 25, 2022. So the date format that we needs to be like this. That is, you should have your weekday first, which day of the week it is, comma, then a space, and then it should say the month, date, another comma, and then the year. Okay. So in our case, the date format is currently only in a standard date format. So let's see how to change this. I will go ahead and add a new column. So to insert a new column, all you need to do is just click on the next column, right click and click on insert. Okay. So this inserts a new column. Similarly, you can insert a new row as well. If you do insert after selecting a row, it will insert a new row for you. So I don't need that. I'll just do an undo. All right. So in this case, we need the formatted date. So how do you do that? For that, there is a very straightforward formula. You can do equal to and then type in the formula text. Okay. And then press tab on your keyboard. All right. Now it asks for two parameters. First one is the value. So value will be your actual date itself. Okay. So you have selected the date. All right. Put in a comma and then it is asking for the format. So for the format, type in two double quotes. All right. And within these double quotes, we will do some bit of tricks. Okay. So in order to display the weekday, so we need the weekday, right? You need Sunday, Monday, whatever to be displayed first. So in order to display the weekday, you just type in 4Ds. All right. So this is how it displays the weekdays. Okay. And then you need a comma. So I put in a comma and then a space. Now what do you need? You need the month now. So in order to display the full month, just type in M4 times. Okay. Put in a space. Then you need the date. So date just needs 2Ds. Okay. D 2 times. Another comma, another space, because here you have a comma and then a space, right? Okay. And then you need to display the year. So here you can display using 4Ys. Okay. Now let's press enter and see how this works. So now if you notice, you have the weekday, you have your month, your date and your year displayed completely differently. Okay. So this is one way you can format the date to suit your requirement. Now, for example, if you want to display just, instead of Friday, you just need to display FRI. Okay. So you can just remove one D and it displays it like this. If you just want to display NOV instead of November, just remove one M from here and there you go. All right. So these are some useful tips that you can use while working with dates. So I'll just put it back the way it was, and in order to flash fill this, autofill this, just come here the corner and double click this plus button. Okay. So there you go. You have successfully updated the dates. Now we will work with this date going forward. So I'm just going to copy this. Okay. And I'm going to paste this as values. All right. So that the formula is removed, and I'll just delete this column. All right. So we will work with these dates now. Second question done. Let's move on to the third question. Resize all the cells to fit the cell content perfectly. So basically it's asking us to resize everything. So for example, you can see customer ID is a bit, there is a bit of space to the right. Even in product category, there is a bit of space to the right. So we will just fit it properly. So one way to do that is you can, probably just, do it manually like this. You can just, shift your column width with the help of, just go here and just press the, column button there, and you can just elongate it or, reduce it. But the best way to do that is, come here, the right above 1 and on the left to A, click on this button. It selects the entire data set for you. And once it's selected, on the right of any column, just go there and once you see this icon changing to a plus symbol, do a double click, and then you can see everything is arranged properly now. Okay, now that's how you resize cells. Third question is also done now. Moving on to the fourth question, that is convert the dataset into a table and name the table as retail sales. Now this is where we convert it back to a table. Okay, so for that there is a shortcut. You can just keep your cursor somewhere on the data and press Control and T on your keyboard, and you can see the dancing ants icon around your data set, and it will show you a small dialog box where it will say where is the data for your table. So it is auto selected, you don't need to change this. Just make sure your my table has headers is checked, okay, because your table is already having a heading, right? There is a header column, sorry, header row. So it should be checked. If you don't have headers, then you should uncheck this. All right, in this case it has headers. Going ahead and clicking on OK, and now you can see this has been converted into a table because your table design is now active. Okay, let me just do a quick bit of formatting. I'll just align this everywhere, and then let me choose a formatting. So let's say I want to choose, okay, this looks good. All right, so I've chosen this formatting, okay, and it looks a bit clean now. The next thing is you want to rename, so come to table design, and here under the table name you can rename the table as retail sales. All right, so that's done. So we are done with our fourth question as well. We have converted it into a table and renamed it to retail sales. Fourth question is use keyboard shortcuts to enter the current date and time in a new row. All right, I'll just enter the current date and time in this new row, and I'll delete it because we don't really want to use that timing and don't want to add a new row altogether. So I'll just show you how to do that. Okay, so in order to enter the current date, you can use the shortcut Control and semicolon. All right, Control and semicolon on your keyboard, that will enter the current date. So today's date is 4th March 2024, and in my current format it displays as date, month, and then year. Okay, so the current date is displayed. Now in order to display the current time, let me use another cell. You can press Control Shift and then semicolon. All right, so this will display the current time. Now you may be wondering why it's displaying a random date altogether, whereas here it displays date and time. That's because the format of the cell is only a date. Yeah, so if you right click and go to format cells, under custom, let me just scroll down, there is an option where you can display the proper time. Okay, I can just remove this, and then it will display the time in this particular 24-hour formatting. All right, if you want to display the time and date together, that is today's time and date together, after the date put a space, do Control Shift and semicolon, and you just need to change the format to something that is usable. All right, so for example here I can probably use this formatting. Let's see. Yeah, this looks good, right? So that's how you work with date and time, current date and time, so to say. Let me just delete both these rows so that we don't have to work with these. Okay, all right, now there is a price per unit column. I don't really need this for my guided project here. I'll go ahead and delete this as well. Okay, let's work with what we have here. Cool, so let's move on to the next question. Question number 6 to 10 here. Sixth question says make changes to ensure the first letter of customer's first and last name start with a capital letter and remaining letters are small. All right, so in this case you can see, for example, Kai Kent, everything is capital. Nihal S is capital and everything else is small. The next names, which are, Nadia Sheikh, Ethan Hunt, Jamie Morgan, it's not in a proper, capitalized cases, right? So we have a formula where we can, change that. That is, let me just insert a column here, okay? And that's known as proper, okay? So you can use the proper function to change everything to a proper case. I will just select the text here. Okay. So now you see when I'm selecting the text, instead of showing D2, that is the cell number, it shows me what is the column name. Okay, and that's because you have converted this entire data set into a table. That's why this comes up. Okay, and notice one thing, I'm doing proper and closing the braces. Now when I press enter, you may notice that I don't have to autofill it, right? I don't have to drag it down so that it fills the formula. When you're working with a table and you apply a formula, the formula autofills itself, depending on your table. So your table ends here. That's why the formula has ended here and it has applied itself to the entire set of names. Okay, so everything is now in capitalized. The first and last name are, the first letters are capital and rest of the letters are small. So that's how your question 6 is done. What I will also do is I will leave the link to this particular data set, or probably I'll just leave the link to the PDF file so that you can import it as well, learn that piece as well, and you can work on your own. All right. So check out the description after this video so that you can download the data set and work on that yourself. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is separate the weekday and year from date column using the left and right functions. All right. Now, remember one thing, all of these questions have already been done by me in individual videos in the past. So I'll probably create a playlist and put it there. You can also check out individual videos if you want to deep dive into a particular topic so that it's easier for you to understand and, probably give you more depth into a particular topic. All right. I'll leave the link to those videos as well in the description. Okay. So it says separate the weekday and year from date column using the left and right functions. So let's see how that is done. So basically what we want is we want the weekday and the year. Okay. So in this case, we will need Friday and 2023. Let's see how we can do that. Now notice one thing that Friday has how many? Friday has 6 characters, 6 letters. It's a 6-letter word, right? Whereas Saturday is a 8-letter word, right? Saturday has 8 letters and Friday has 6 letters. If you want to check it, you can, just do a length formula. Let's see the length of, I don't know, I want to see the length of Friday. Okay, Friday is 6. It's showing up as 6 everywhere because I'm using it inside the table. So let's see, Friday has 6 characters, and how many characters does Saturday has? Saturday has 8 characters. All right, so you can use the length formula if you want to find out the length of anything usually. Now I want to separate Friday and separate the year. So in this case, what I'll do is, let me just, so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this as, let's say, weekday, and this can be my year. Okay. All right. Let me use the left function in this case because I want to retrieve something from the left side of my data. Okay. So I say left and I press the tab button. Okay. Now the first thing I want is the text. So where is the text? Text is right here. That is my date, comma. How many characters do I want from the left side of the text? So in this case, if I say 6, let's say 6, okay, you may notice something When I say 6, Friday is displayed, Monday is displayed, but Saturday is not displayed properly because it is only taking the first 6 characters from the left. So, a sensible thing to do here would be, let's just take 3 characters so that when the user reads it, it's understandable what is the weekday, because it's showing 3 weekdays, right? MON only means Monday, SAT only means Saturday, right? Rather than showing SATURD and showing full Friday and half of Saturday, right? So this makes more sense. So this is how you can fetch the weekday. All right. There are better ways to find out the exact word. For that, you can check out the actual video where I have discussed, left, right, and mid functions. And in order to get the year, since year is just 4 characters that we are dealing with, I can just say right. All right, because I want to fetch something from the right. Text is again the same. And how many characters from the right? I want to get 4 characters. So your year gets displayed like this. So that's how you use the left and right functions in Excel. All right. Now this is done. So I'm going to just delete this and work with other questions. Let's move on to the 8th question. Find the number of characters in the first name of each customer. Now look at the question carefully. We just want the number of characters in the first name. How do you do that? In order to find the number of characters, I told you that there is a length formula, but in this case you want to find it from the first name. So let's see if we can use a function for this. Let's try find here, right? So find, you can read what it says. Find function returns the starting position of one text string within another text string. All right. So in this case, we want to find out the length of the first name. How do we do that? Let's see if this is doable. All right. So find takes 3 parameters: find text, within text, and start number. So start number here is optional since it is in square brackets. So find text for me here is the first name. Okay. So should I just put in Jamie here? If I put in Jamie, the problem will be when the formula autofills itself, it will only find it for Jamie. So for Nadia also, it will try to find Jamie within Nadia Sheikh, right? So that's not optimal for us. So what do we want to do? What we want to find here is not Jamie, rather we want to find where is the first space, because after a first name there will always be a space and then a last name, okay, in a clean data set. Okay, so I want to find where is the first space coming up. So just be with me here. I'll just show you how. So I say find text is space, and within text is what? I want to find it within this text. So that is within text. That is the name. Okay. And then the third option is the starting number. So in this case, we don't really have a starting number. So let's see what this gives us. Okay. So it says 6, 6, 6, and then 4. Okay. Let's see if that is correct or not. So the question was again, find the number of characters in the first name. So we already know in Jamie, how many characters do we have? We have Jamie, that is 5 characters, but it says 6 characters. Now that is because it is also counting the space that you took into picture, right? So the space is also counted. That's why one extra character is being coming up here. So in order to get the exact number, you can simply say -1 here, and your space is not counted in this case. So basically you are removing the extra space that is counted, and now you can see the name is, the number of characters in the name is displayed properly. This number of characters in first name. Okay, this is what we are calculating here. All right, so this is how you do the 8th question. Let me go ahead and delete this since we will not be working with this anymore. And also let me just copy this where we change the name to proper case and paste it here, and we will not be needing that column as well. So till here we are all good. Okay, moving on to the next question, that is separate the first name from full name. Try 2 different methods. So I'm sure you may remember, there is an option called as text to columns. All right, where you can sort of select the text whichever you want, and you can give a delimiter. So let's take a look at that first, and then I'll show you the a simpler method where you can separate the first name directly. Okay, so for that I will need to first insert a couple of empty columns here, because when you use the text to column option, it will need 2 empty columns, whichever the number of empty columns is towards the right. So select the data, go to the data tab. Under data tab there is an option called text to columns, okay, which will split a single column into text of multiple columns. Click on text to columns and it will show you a wizard. Click on delimited, okay, click on next, and then you can give an option here. So in this case I think space, yes. So if you select space, you can see the data preview, right? So your first name is on the left, right name is on the right. Click on next and finish. So it says there is already data here, do you want to replace it? So it will replace the data whichever is here in this column and then put the remaining data towards the right. I'll say okay. So you have separated first and last name. This is one way. Okay, but in this case we don't really need the last name, because the question says separate the first name from full name. Okay, so this is one method. Let me just undo it, Control Z. Okay, now I don't need this column, I just need one column. Okay, so in this case I want to find out the first name. How do you think we should do that? Let's see. So in order to do such a thing, all you have to do is, let's use the left formula in this case. Okay, so we'll use left function, and left will take the text. So our text in this case is the name, that is the full name, and then it's asking us for the number of characters. So the number of characters is something that we don't know, right? Because from name to name it is different. For Kai it is 3, for Nihal it is 5, right? So we don't know the number of characters. How do you find the number of characters? You can find it using the find function, because it returns the number of number basically, right? So you will use the find function here. And what are you going to find? So to separate the first name, the separator here is a space. So we will put in a space, and you want to find it within which text? Again, the same name, okay? And you don't really know the starting number, that's optional also. So we will leave that and we will close the left. So you are using the find function within the left function, okay? Click enter, and there you go. The first name is now readily available for you. Now, one thing you may notice is if you're working with a larger data set is, let me just align it to the right. So you will see it is not aligned, it is not sticking to the right because there is a space character also. That's because it is also counting the space character. It is also retrieving the space character for you. Now, if you want, you can just remove that space character by doing a -1. And now if you align it to the right, it will stick to the right. And also if you can check the length also if you want. So the length will return 5 now. Earlier it would have said, so length in this case will be 5 now. Okay. Earlier, if I did not use the -1, let's say, length would have been 6, right? So those are very small things that you need to be careful about. Okay, cool. So this looks good. Let me just delete that, and I can probably just rename it to first name. Yeah, you can just remove it if you want. I'm just keeping it. Going to the next question, that is create a drop down list for the product category. So we have something called as product category here, and there are, I would say, beauty, electronics, clothing, electronics, right? So in total, three sets of data. You can change it to a drop down. So instead of manually entering this data set, you can change it to a drop down, let's say. So how do you do that? For that, I can just, select these three. You can also select everything if you want. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to select these three, keep it somewhere, let's say here. Okay. And now I'm going to change this entire cell to a drop down instead of manually entering data. So what I do here is right click, sorry, not right click, just go to the data tab and go to this icon which says data validation. Click on data validation, and under settings, click on this drop down and select list. Now when you select list, it will ask you for a source. So the source here is nothing but the actual set of values that you want in your drop down. So I'll select these three values and I'll click on OK. Now if you notice, there is a small drop down that has appeared, and if you click that, you can select whatever value you want from the drop down. Okay, so I'll just drag it down, so it will select beauty everywhere. So I have used the same bit, and let me just change it to, yeah, I think this looks good. Okay, so that's how you add a drop down. Again, as I said, detailed videos are available in my channel. You can go and watch individual videos as well. So that's how you use a drop down, create a source of values, and then use it as a list. Okay, so we have solved the 10th question already. Now we just have 4 more questions and we'll be done with this video. Next one is using index match, find the quantity ordered by customer CUST013. So we will use the index match formula to find out the quantity ordered by this particular customer, that is CUST013. So what we want is, so we have a customer ID that is given to us, CUST013, and we want to find out the quantity ordered. Okay, let's see how we can do this. Now usually when you want to do something with index match, index and match are two different functions. So you use the match function within the index function. Okay, so let me show you how. So index basically returns a value or reference of the cell. So instead of VLOOKUP, you can use index match almost everywhere, right? Because VLOOKUP is a bit tedious than index match. Index match solves your entirety of the problems in one go. Okay, so let's see what all index match requires. It requires an array, it requires a row number, and then it requires a column number. So in this case, we will find the row number using the match function. Let me show you how, don't get confused. So in this case, our array is basically what we want to find out. So in this case, we want to find out the quantity. So I'll select the quantity here. Okay, put in a comma, and then it will ask you for the row number. So row number is basically where the match function comes into picture, because the match function returns returns a number. Okay, so you say match. Okay, now the match function takes a few values. What is the first value? It's the lookup value. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the customer ID, right? So the customer ID is in which cell? It's here in customer ID. Okay, you're not able to see it because it's overlapped. I'll just select it. That is E10. Sorry, E9. E9. Okay, this is the cell, comma. Where are you looking for this value? So this customer ID is available in this particular array. Okay, and comma, what is the match type? So there are three types of match. I'll select exact match with this, that is 0. Close it and then close the index formula. Click on enter and there you go. So the quantity ordered by customer 013 is 3. Okay. If you want, you can also change it to a drop down. All right. So let's say you go to data, and you go to data validation, click on the list, and under source, you can select all the customer IDs. Click on enter. Okay. And the moment you change customer IDs, the quantity will keep changing. For example, CUST003, that is the last customer ordered one quantity. Okay. So this is how the index match will function. Check out the actual video on index match on my channel. You will find it really easy to follow. Going to the next question. Insert checkboxes in the dataset. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. So let's say you want to insert a checkbox on the right here. Okay, let me just, zoom out a little. Okay, so you want to insert a checkbox, let's say here. Okay, all you have to do is go to the developer tab. So in order to activate the developer tab, you have to go to file, then go to options at the bottom, and under customize ribbon, you should have something known as developer tab here. Okay, if not here, then you can find it on the left and just click on it and click on add, and then you can move it to the right. All right, so I already have it added. Go to developer tab, click on insert, and then you will find something known as checkbox. Click on that and it will let you draw the checkbox here. Don't worry about the size, you can just drag it and place it somewhere in the middle. Okay, right click, click on edit text so that it removes the text that comes with it. Click on delete, click somewhere outside, and there you go. Your checkbox is clean and ready. Now in order to copy it, you can just do a Control-C and paste it. So I pasted it everywhere. You can also assign a cell to update automatically once you check or uncheck that checkbox. Okay, so the simplest way to do that is you do a right click. Okay, do a right click and come to the formulas tab. In equal to, just select a cell that you want to update when you check or uncheck the checkbox. So I'm selecting the next cell, that is J2 here. Click on enter. Now you see when I check this checkbox, it is changing to true, and when it is unchecked, it is false. Okay. Similarly, you can do it for other checkboxes as well. I'm going to do it very quickly. So this one will be J3. This one is going to be J4. This one's going to be J5. And this one's going to be J6. So now if you see, the moment you check or uncheck a checkbox, the status will change accordingly. I have again done a detailed video on how you can update this false and true to whatever you like. You can also insert a if formula. For example, if I say if, let's say this value is true, so then it will say, let's say, done, and if not, let it say pending. Okay, so now if you update this, it will say done, done, done. And if you also want, you can just hide this column so that the background details are not visible to the end user. Okay, so let's say if you want to check, you want to mark this item as sold for this user, just check it, it will say done, check it, it will say done, and accordingly you can update the status. Okay, I hope this sounds cool. Moving on to the next question, that is 13th question, show pending. Okay, this we have already done. Show pending if the checkbox status is true, otherwise display it as done. Okay, so that is what we just did. All right. The last question, that is in an empty cell, display this text, that is a plus b the whole square. Okay, just display this particular text. That's again pretty simple. I'll just take an empty cell here. So what we call this particular square, right, a plus b whole square, or 2, this 2 is known as superscript. If you have something towards the bottom of a particular text, that is known as subscript. Okay, fairly simple. So I'll just type in whatever is there, a plus b the whole. I can't type in square, so I'll just type 2. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll just select this 2. I'll go to the home tab, click on this font settings, okay, this arrow shape towards the right, and here I have an option called as superscript that is under effects. Click on superscript, click on OK, and now you can see my text. I just enlarge this text, so you can see there is a square now. So this is how you work with variables, squares, or mathematical formulas in Excel. That's basically it. As I told initially, this will be a very short project. So we have covered 14 questions and you have learned something new today with different types of formulas and different type of functions. And I hope this was helpful. If you found this helpful, I would encourage you to practice it more. Practice it with a different data set probably. I'll also leave the same data set as a PDF in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and do follow me on LinkedIn and YouTube if you are interested in more content from this particular channel. So with that, take care. Thanks a lot. I'll see you with another video next week. Thank you.